Homeless camps fuel a feud between the governor and the city of Austin.
Almost any strategy is superior to allowing people to camp out on places like Congress Avenue.
Why the governor says Austin has the wrong plan and how another city's approach to homelessness could be the model for other places in Texas to follow. Democrats on the rise in Texas. Now the GOP is changing strategy.
Democrats are hungry. They smell blood. They see the wind blowing the other direction, and they're dumping huge resources in Texas.
We talked to a key player behind the scenes for insight into the plan for Texas Republicans. Hello and thank you for joining us for State of Texas. I'm Phil Prazen. This week, Governor Abbott weighed in on what he sees as the solution for reducing homelessness in the state's capital city. It's been a fight since Austin City Council legalized sitting, camping, and sleeping, things that were previously banned in many public areas. The governor says that's the wrong thing to do, but he said another Texas city is getting it right.
It helps the homeless be placed on a pathway toward a recovery and improvement in their lives.
Abbott told us Wednesday San Antonio's strategy, led by the nonprofit Haven for Hope, is the one to copy. It's a central 22-acre gated campus next to the courthouse with wraparound services.
Bottom line is that almost any strategy is superior to allowing people to camp out on places like Congress Avenue.
Austin City Council decriminalized many aspects of homelessness if they aren't a public or health risk, and plan to add shelters in different areas of town. The first one will be in South Austin, near where Cleo Patricic lives. She voted for Mayor Adler and other liberal city council members. Now she's happy a Republican governor is trying to get involved.
I am a very much on the progressive side, but these policies are to the extreme left wing.
She helped form a new group, Safe Austin for Everyone. They're organizing a community meeting at Central Texas Gunworks in early August and invited council, the city manager, and the police chief to join.
Not all homeless people are criminals. Obviously, they're not. But there is a criminal element happening under 290, and because the police their hands are tied.
Mayor Adler says there's a silver lining in the criticism. He told me he's happy more people are getting involved.
I'm not sure we've ever had the community as focused and as aligned and as interested in actually doing things as we have right now.
For perspective, we're joined by Ann Howard, the executive director of Ending Community Homelessness Coalition, or ECHO.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us.
Sure.
You've been ground zero of this discussion for a long time. Have we seen the city of Austin talk about homelessness like it has been in the last, week or two?
This is in a way like everything we ever wanted and never wanted all at the same time. I think people are motivated right now to solve this problem. And, people on sort of both sides of it. There's frustration and exhaustion by people who are homeless waiting for help, but also by the business community and, advocates. It's just time to get to the solution.
And so Governor Abbott has started a very public feud with Mayor Adler. Governor Abbott suggests we look at the Haven for Hope model in San Antonio. What do they do, and then can those things translate or not translate into Austin?
Sure. Well, Haven for Hope was an award-winning program when it started. It's a big shelter, sort of on steroids. Things that we do at a shelter where you bring in different partners to provide health care or help you look for a job, goodwill, integral care. And at Haven for Hope, that's just done with like 100 partners. So it's a big shelter with about a $20 million budget that has done good work. But it alone doesn't end homelessness in San Antonio. Lots of people from Austin have looked at Haven for Hope, and on the bus ride back, we usually talk about, well, what all are we doing in Austin? And we see bits and pieces of that, and we ourselves have really good programs in Austin, but we don't have enough of anything to sort of scale to the solution.
Let's talk a little bit about the two different aspects of what the city council has done. I mean, I think the more controversial one from emails we've received or social media has been the changes to the no sit, no lie camping ordinance. From your perspective, what does that do? Has it been helpful?
So where it's helpful is over the long run. If you get a ticket and you don't pay it, it becomes a warrant for your arrest. And when we go to connect people to rental housing, they need to be competitive. And the more eviction history or criminal history or just open warrants for your arrest knocks them down. It makes them less competitive. And so it's harder. Those are barriers. It's harder for them to get jobs and to get housing. So by changing these ordinances over time, it should reduce barriers to housing and jobs. And I think, you know, we never had people camping on Congress Avenue. I don't think we'd have people camping on Congress Avenue, but we've talked so much about it. You know, it's sometimes we make up stuff and live into it.
Well, and I feel like there's something about, you know, somebody who's driving down the street and doesn't want to see the homeless person lying there, sleeping there, camping there, and now they know the city is okay with that. And I think that's really the kind of the crux of, of their frustration.
You know, I don't agree that the city's okay with that. I think that our city policy is to end homelessness. The city council has endorsed an action plan to end homelessness in Austin. And what that means is that for every person who falls into homelessness, we'd get them right back into housing quickly. And so you know, that's the vision. Our vision for Austin is a community that's fiercely dedicated to ending homelessness, and I think we're becoming that.
Ann Howard, thanks so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Sure.
There's a lot of bright students, young minds, and if they had access to come to schools like UT, they would just, you know, change the world.
University of Texas Regents make a big move to help students pay for college, and it's thanks to a decision made by state leaders nearly 150 years ago. How that's giving Regents the funding to help future Texas leaders.
I was down in Texas taking care of business, tending to my family. This situation got so bad that I decided I better get into it.
Before he was a presidential candidate, Ross Perot had already built a legacy. Why his work on education still has a lasting impact in the Lone Star State. 2/3 goes to the UT system, 1/3 goes to the Texas A&M system. The Texas Constitution places specific limitations on what it can be used for. For example, other UT system institutions can only use this money to improve their facilities. But UT Austin is special. As the flagship school for the system, they're allowed to use the funds for a wide range of things. In this case, UT Austin will use money from the PUF to create an endowment. It's expected to generate around $8 million a year to go towards financial aid. UT is not alone in helping lower-income students. Texas Tech's Red Raider Guarantee Program covers tuition and fees for students whose families earn $40,000 or less. Tech funds the program through endowments as well as tuition set-asides. Texas Tech does not have access to money from the state's Permanent University Fund.
Do I think that there's wonderful opportunities for all public institutions from the Public University Fund? Sure. But that's a question that's for Texas state legislatures to consider.
This year, close to 1,500 students will participate in the Red Raider Guarantee Program. That's around 5% of the Texas Tech student population. The top Democrats running for president will soon hit the debate stage in Texas, another sign that the state's in play for the 2020 campaign.
Democrats are hungry. They smell blood. They see the wind blowing the other direction, and they're dumping huge resources in Texas.
With the blue team on the rise, the red team is changing strategy. We talked to a key player behind the scenes for insight into the plan for Texas Republicans. Round 3 of the Democratic presidential debates will be coming to Texas. Houston will host 2 nights of debates on September 12th and 13th. But they could trim it to just 1 debate night if fewer candidates make the cut. The Democratic Party made it harder for candidates to qualify for the Houston debates. They need to score at least 2% in 4 polls. Candidates also need at least 130,000 donors. According to Politico, only 5 candidates currently have both benchmarks: Joe Biden, Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, Bernie Sanders, and Elizabeth Warren. In 2016, National Democrats did not put many resources into Texas. That's changing. The results from the last election showed the opportunities for Democrats to make gains. In 2016, just 37% of voters statewide cast ballots for Democrats running for Congress. Republican candidates polled in more than 57% of that vote. The GOP took 25 of 36 seats in Texas has in Congress. But last election, Democratic candidates polled in 47% of the vote, dramatically closing the gap with Republicans. The party gained 2 seats in Congress. This time, they hope to do even better, and that has Republicans adjusting their strategy. For perspective, I spoke with George C. He's the chairman of Annandale Capital. That's a money management company, and he's played key roles in 2 presidential campaigns. In 2012, he was Rick Perry's finance chair, and in 2016, he served as Marco Rubio's senior advisor. C is now on the board of the Associated Republicans of Texas, a fundraising group for GOP candidates. I asked him about the changing political landscape in Texas and got his perspective on the outlook for Republicans and Democrats. In 2014, Greg Abbott won by 20 points, and now statewide Republicans are winning by 2.5. What happened from 20 to 2.5?
Well, that's an excellent question, and the wind's blowing the other direction. And if you go back to the 1970s, the wind started blowing heavily towards Republicans. And when we elected the first Republican governor since Reconstruction in 1978, that started an irreversible trend, because Texas has been an overwhelmingly conservative state forever, and it used to be just the Democrats were conservative, and now they're not. So the trend is narrowing because the demographics are changing, and currently Hispanics vote around 60 to 70% for Democrats, and the magic number is about 40%. If Republicans can win over 40% of the Hispanic vote, they stay in power statewide pretty much forever. If they earn the votes of significantly less than that, not so much. They're going to start losing some races. And I think the major tightening in some of the statewide offices, though, is not just the demographic change. I think it was the policy initiatives coming out of Austin. I think a lot of people looked at what the Republican legislature, Republican infrastructure, statewide leaders were doing and saying, and they thought, these things have nothing to do with me. I want better roads. I want more jobs. I want better schools. And so I think it was a bit of a protest vote. I think a lot of people either stayed home or voted for the Democrat because they didn't like what they were seeing. And I think in this legislative session this past year, you saw a counter trend in that among Republicans. They got pragmatic and realized, let's do some blocking and tackling kind of issues that people care about. Property tax reform, more money to schools, infrastructure, and I think it's been effective. I think it'll help in the next election.
What were some of those warning signs that you think flew people into the Democratic Party?
Well, I would say that there's a lot of circular firing squads being formed in the Republican Party, and it echoes the liberal-conservative split among Democrats in the 60s and 70s, where they formed circular firing squads. The incumbent governor in 1978, Dolph Briscoe, lost his primary race to the liberal Attorney General John Hill, and that created great fracturing within the party. So I think a lot of this tipping into more independent voters and even voting for Democrat candidates is based on people getting tired of watching people fight over things they don't really care about. And Republicans have been doing a lot of intra-party squabbling lately, and they've pretty much shut that down, and that's a credit to the governor and the lieutenant governor and the new speaker, Dennis Bonham. They did a good job of unity and focusing on issues more people care about. And Democrats are hungry. They smell blood. They see the wind blowing the other direction, and they're dumping huge resources in Texas. You look at Representative O'Rourke's campaign, where I believe he spent $83 million. That's unheard of for a Texas Senate race, and he outspent Senator Cruz over 2-1. And all the money in Texas, which is a Republican money pit, is where all the Republicans get out their bucket and scoop money and go out of state and spend it someplace else. People are waking up to the fact that we've got to spend money right here at home if we're going to not see the government turn over and turn purple and maybe turn blue someday.
For somebody who watches this and has no idea how that fundraising world works, what exactly happens? You know, so how does ART raise money? For somebody who doesn't know, this is a political show, but you know, we're trying to educate how the system works.
Yeah, I think most Americans have a severe aversion to political finance. They just have a negative reaction to it, and I totally relate to that. I've been raising money for public servants, for elected officials for too long now. I've toned it down somewhat, but I hate doing it because it's really hard work and it's unpleasant because you deal with an awful lot of people with agendas. I like to do it. This sounds like a cliche, but I'm patriotic. I love my country, so I want to see people of integrity go into public service. But in terms of the process itself, it's just grind, grind, grind. And the way ART came back from an almost defunct organization to one that spends millions of dollars every election cycle, it's almost a business case. You go to people who are leaders in the civic and business and philanthropic communities in Texas, and you make a case that what ART is doing matters, and it's good for Texas, and it's good for good government going forward, and to keep our business community strong, and our economy sound, and our families with food on the table and a good quality of life, and people respond to that. And one thing that a lot of people don't like about Texas fundraising is you can put unlimited funds into Texas. There aren't hard caps like there are in U.S. Senate elections or congressional elections. So people with resources can write pretty significant checks to push that around the right way, and we can all have a debate about whether that's good for the Republic or not. You can make an argument it's not very good for the Republic, but that's the system we live in today.
Thanks so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Remembering a Texas icon.
Number one, I will not run as either a Democrat or Republican because I will not sell out to anybody but to the American people.
His presidential campaigns gave Ross Perot national attention, but it's the things he did before those campaigns that changed this state. Texans are remembering a legend. Billionaire Ross Perot died Tuesday. He was 89 years old. Most people remember him for his presidential campaigns in 1992 and 1996. But Perot's work to overhaul Texas schools, raising teacher pay, and his no-pass, no-play policy also has a lasting legacy here in the Lone Star State. We want to take a deeper dive into Perot's life and legacy. We're joined by Bob Garrett, the Austin bureau chief for the Dallas Morning News. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You've been covering Perot for a long time, and I bet you a lot of kids out there do not know the extent which he had on their lives. Talk a little bit about what he did in education.
You know, you mentioned no pass, no play. That was a huge deal, that in order to play sports or be in extracurricular activities, you have to be passing, and you can practice, but if you're failing, originally you were suspended for 6 weeks. Now it's 3 weeks. That's still with us. The whole set of mandatory tests kids have to take that have had lots of different acronyms. Now STAR, that's a legacy of this. Pre-K for 4-year-olds who are disadvantaged, that's a legacy of this. And one of the biggest is the 22 student limit on classroom sizes in kindergarten through 4th grade. All of those things are a result of House Bill 72 in 1984.
In today's world, it is so difficult for third-party candidates to run for president, let alone get on the ballot and, you know, in places here in Texas and across the country. But how did he do it and get 20% of the vote at one point?
He did it by drawing from disgruntled sections of America from right, left, and center. And a lot has been written about how, you know, Perot, there are some parallels with the later Tea Party movement and with Donald Trump. You know, there's parallels about how Washington is corrupt. There's parallels about how we've been exporting jobs to Mexico and other cheap labor countries. Those things do sound a lot like the Tea Party and Donald Trump. But there were some big differences, too. Perot supporters, the polls from 1992 showed that they were for abortion rights and national health insurance and strong environmental pollution controls. So those things you don't associate with Donald Trump's movement or the Tea Party, do you?
Not at all. So, I mean, and what happened to that? What happened to the Perot voter right now? I mean, if, you know, you have all these people who volunteered and who voted for him, where did they go politically?
That's a very good question. You know, some of them, I think, are still in this independent group that voted for Obama or voted for Trump and is up for grabs next year. We should say that one of the differences between Perot and what we see now with Trump is Perot never pointed the finger at illegal immigration. There was not this nativist thing that we see now with the Republican Party led by Donald Trump. I think some of the Perot people, generationally, of course, some of them have died, but I think in terms of the types of voters, we see them somewhat up for grabs and somewhat people without a party home.
Can we see something like him again in politics?
You know, I would never say never. He was self-funded largely, and I think we have seen enough billionaires who look in the mirror and see a president and can write big checks. We saw one who's in the White House now. So I think it's possible, but it's very difficult. As you know, the system is set up for the major party candidates.
Bob Garrett, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you again for joining us for State of Texas. I'm Phil Prazen. We'll be back next week to bring you an in-depth look at Texas politics.